There are two types of digestion, mechanical and chemical. Mechanical digestion is a physical movement that is made to break down the food into smaller pieces, and chemical digestion is made up of chemicals that decompose the food. The digestive system first comes in handy as soon as you put food in your mouth. Both types of digestion are used in this stage. As you chew food, your jaw and your teeth make the pieces smaller to make swallowing easier. Also, your salivary glands produce saliva that breaks down starch into simple sugars. In addition, saliva lubricates the food in your mouth to make it easier to swallow.
The tongue then molds the food into a soft mass called the bolus. The epiglottis prevents food from going down the trachea when swallowing. There are glands in the lining of the esophagus that produce mucus, so the bolus moves easier down the throat. The esophagus moves the bolus by peristalsis, which are a series of wave-like muscle contractions. The entrance to the stomach is controlled by the esophageal sphincter, which prevents acid to go to the throat.
Once the food has made its way through the esophagus, it is temporarily stored in the stomach, where chemical and mechanical digestion takes place. For chemical digestion, gastric juices that are secreted from the gastric glands are mixed to the food to break it down. At the same time, muscles that are lined up around the stomach contract and relax to churn and mix the food with the gastric juices. After this process, the food can now be called chyme, which moves through the small intestine once it is empty. Next, there are the accessory organs. These are organs in which food does not go through, yet still have a very important role in the process of digestion. One of the accessory organs is the liver. The liver secretes bile, which is a bitter liquid with a yellowish color, and is contained in the gallbladder. Bile helps the digestion of lipids in the small intestine. Another accessory organ is the pancreas, which secretes pancreatic juice to help chemically digest carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. The pancreas also produces insulin, which promotes the absorption of glucose. When the pancreas fails to produce any or enough insulin, the level of glucose in the blood increases. This disease is called diabetes.
The small intestine is the alimentary canal where macronutrients are finally broken into component molecules. The small intestine is a long tube divided into three: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The walls of the small intestine have folds that increase surface area for nutrient absorption into the bloodstream. These folds are covered in finger-like projections called villi, which are covered with microvilli. While in the duodenum, food gets secretions from the gallbladder and the pancreas. Then, the jejunum breaks down the remaining proteins and carbohydrates. After that, the ileum pushes the food into the large intestine. The food is digested and the nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream in the small intestine. Then, the remaining material goes to the large intestine. It is called the large intestine, but it's actually shorter and wider. The function of a large intestine is to absorb the remaining water back into the bloodstream and to the multicellular fluids. Anaerobic bacteria, which are bacteria that do not live or grow in oxygen, break down more the undigested matter and produce some vitamins. What is left is called feces, or in other words, poop. Feces are normally brown because of the bacterial breakdown of bilirubin, a pigment formed in the breakdown of hemoglobin, which is a protein responsible for transporting oxygen. Fecal odor also comes from bacterial activity. The feces remains in the rectum until it is eliminated through the anus.
Waiting for suggestions. He's so nervous, avoiding all the questions. His lips are dry, our hearts gently pounding. Don't you just know?